Hey, it's Les from the TV Dudes. This week, as part of our ATX Television Festival Season 12 coverage, I'm thrilled to bring you a chat I had with the creators and stars of Everyone is Doing Great, an independently produced television show now on its second season. Today, I speak with Stephen Colletti and James Lafferty, creators and stars of the show, about making television outside the studio system, how it went making Season 2, and much more. Everyone is Doing Great is a fantastic show. James and Stephen are always great to talk to, and I can't wait to bring you interviews all this week with the cast and creators. Hope you enjoy.
So we just got done talking about the indie film panel, or not indie film, indie TV, which you'll talk about a little bit is kind of a new space. I've been coming to this fest for a few years, and it's always a little inside baseball. I think that's why we all enjoy it. You get to find out a little bit about what that path really looks like, what all the hats are. And the last few years, it feels like so much of that is broken. Like streaming has changed it, or nobody knows quite how things work anymore. The traditional path may not be there. For you guys, going into Season 2, I feel like you're really in a rarefied atmosphere of indie TV. You're not making a pilot, you're not making Season 1, you're making Season 2 of a thing. What does that feel like when you're out there pitching it? Does it feel different than when you were thinking of the pilot? Does it feel...
Well, it made us... it made it a little easier to get some friends on board for Season 2 to fill some roles, to get some cast members, because there's an example of the show. They understand what it is, and so there's been a freedom in that. There's a freedom in the second season of, okay, it's a thing that's, we did a thing with the season, and here we are trying to do it again. So thankfully that drives us through those tough moments of, when you're in the independent world and things are tough and you're wearing so many hats and you're maybe a little lost, trying to figure out, all right, what is the clearest path forward? At the end of the day, we know that, like, we just got to keep trucking along. It's also a big theme in the show as well. Keep trucking along, keep working hard, and we'll get there. But yeah, there's, another season presents its own challenges, but thankfully, there is a confidence after having done one season, like, okay, we know we can get this done, and we feel good about what it's going to look like based off of, obviously doing the first season.
Yeah. I think the way everything's going right now with platform consolidation and it's consolidation across the board, the whole industry changing so much, it's a really interesting time to be doing what we're doing because it's always been scary. It's always felt like you're a little bit out at sea, but right now everybody feels like they're out at sea. Like nobody feels like they're out. So there's almost a comfort in that chaos for us, at least, where it's like, all right, at least we have something that we're proud of. At least we have something that we can work hard on and we can put forward and be confident in. In the product, and it doesn't feel like we are in any more of a precarious position than the next person that has an actual budget for their show and it's backed by a major streamer.
There's kind of a chaos curve that you're getting graded on. If you don't look as crazy right now, because
a little bit. Shows are getting canceled and then uncanceled, or picked up and then canceled. It's like there's nobody safe, and fortunately we haven't been safe for a while with this, so we're kind of used to
living in the unsafety of it.
Yeah. But I also feel like it feels like we're going to be afforded more opportunities now than we might have in the past. Like the more sort of strange things get, and the more streamers are looking everywhere to pick up their content, plucking it from each other, and it's just like it kind of feels like we're going to get more shots than we might have gotten in the past when everybody was more staying in their lane.
When it comes to, you had talked about in the panel earlier, getting to wear a million hats, and being the producer that's also the director that's also wrote it, and there's all these different, whatever needs done, vacuum up the glitter, I don't know, get him a different shirt, that stripe bounces, come on. Were there any opportunities that you found during making this where it was absolutely crucial that you were wearing all the hats? Where we could not have pulled off today's shoot if if it were siloed the way it would be on a normal show?
I think here.
I mean, there have been plenty of days where, there have been plenty of all hands on deck days where it's like we literally need every single person that, in our producing corps to be there doing something, put out this fire. I mean, one day that got me really overwhelmed was when we were at this house that is playing as Izzy's house in the show. And
Remember the name of it? Circle B?
Bantam's house. Yeah. And the plumbing went out. Like the plumbing with the toilet started overflowing. And so I spent the entire day trying to keep people away from that toilet unsuccessfully. It kept overflowing, kept cleaning it up. Got the plumbers there. They tried 3 different ways to fix it. They were there for like 7 hours, the plumbers. And that was one of those days where, my brother Stuart, who was a producer on the show, he was out in the field, prepping the next days. I think we had 3 different directors on set that day who were also producers, so they were busy. Steven's got to be watching monitor the whole time as well. Like one of us always has to be a monitor. For the actors and continuity and stuff. And so that was, for me, that was a day where I was just so grateful that we had the team that we had, because one of us was just out. I was just out for the count the entire day dealing with fucking plumbing.
There were times too where I think we could pivot, could be a little more nimble. I think that you obviously don't want to. You want to go by your schedule for all the departments to know what we're getting into that day. But I feel like because people know with our shoot that we've got our limited resources. A lot of people are wearing hats. That the team getting involved, they're all pretty gung-ho for those curveballs, for those days where we got to pivot quickly. And that's, while frustrating, of course, in those moments when you have to switch up the schedule, it's frustrating for everybody. I think that there's that nimbleness, if you will, is something that I don't know if you can necessarily have on a big budgeted project where, it's all unions and everything has to go by the book. The fun part about our little, indie journey over here is we can be nimble, we can shift quickly, and there's definitely times when we need to do that.
From the opposite direction, were there ever days where you went, God, I wish I had a third assistant, whatever?
Every day. Yeah. Every single day.
Seriously.
It's so funny because it's like when you start pre-production, there's a part of you that you're so naive. Every time you do it, you're just naive again, all over again. So it's like you start pre-production and you're like, okay, cool, we're just in pre-production. It's going to be chill. 24 hours later, you're like completely underwater. And like you're just realizing the scope of this thing that you're about to embark on and how incredibly unprepared you are.
Everything in this world, you better go make it. Bring it to set. Put it there.
And honestly, like if there's not a lot we could say that we would do differently. There's not a lot we could say that we actually need. Like the style of the show is it's very raw and organic, and it's got to feel like real life, and you don't need a lot of bells and whistles to capture that kind of feel. But man, we could use some people. We could use hands, 100%, because I think there's just certain times when you are stretched so incredibly thin that you really can't get it all done and then go on camera. That's the hardest part.
Shake it all off.
Having a day where you feel like you missed a moment or you weren't fully engaged enough. And ultimately that's the most important part. Like what goes on that screen is really all that matters. And so you're constantly walking that line.
When you solve 7 problems that I'm never going to see as an audience member. But maybe that took a little bit too much of your energy for you to do the performance.
The hardest part is trusting that it's going to be there, considering that there's so many days where some of the scenes might not be living up to your expectations. Still, great, and we know we're getting good stuff, but to manage that kind of that stress, to feel like we're really getting what we want the majority of the time on screen is a battle, and it definitely takes time and trust and understanding that it's there.
you guys are pretty familiar with your editors as well. Do you find yourself, I would imagine it's not a skill you had as actors, watching a performance and knowing, okay, maybe that's not exactly what I wanted, but I can fix that in edit versus set to run.
Sorry, in terms of like
have you gotten? Do you feel like you're leaning more on editing now that you're taking on that job? Do you feel like you've fixed any differences?
Not really. I feel like we're very rarely thinking about the edit when it comes to performance. I mean, at least me, like when I'm standing there on set and watching the monitor, I'm in a scene. I'm not thinking so much about the edit unless we're talking about blocking, right, or continuity,
getting
technical things like that. Yeah, 100%. You know, your mind will go there and it's interesting because like the process of editing has taught us to think that way. I don't think we were thinking as much that way in the first season, but in the second season, it's funny what you've learned you didn't realize consciously that you learned, but you know you'll just be doing something, you'll be in a scene and you're watching the monitor and something will go, that's not going to work. So it was amazing to have that gift this second time around and have developed that the second time around because it definitely saved us here and there.
Was it scary or exciting to expand the family a little bit? I mean, you knew you needed more people, more actors and stuff to get a bigger season 2, but it's such your baby with your crew. Was it hard to add folks?
I thought it was just exciting. I mean, especially, Alex and Kariba, were so excited about what they did in season 1. Expanding on that was just like, it was really what we wanted from the beginning.
Yeah.
And Michelle Lang as a director, coming on board, she's so incredibly enthusiastic and prepared and loves the show. We've all known each other for so long. It was all really excitement, but there is a little bit of you in this whole process will create a control freak out of me. Like, I was never a control freak, but it made me a control freak. And there's been a lot of lessons learned in like trying to let go of that in so many different ways and let other people help you. Because I just think that's a good life lesson, but also if you let that take you over, you're going to be closed off to amazing creative things that you never would have found without the help of other people. So,
And it's always been something we wanted to do with the show is have an opportunity for other people to showcase talents. Whether it's people jumping in the director's chair or Alex Park is writing a couple episodes this season. So we it's celebrating our friends and their talents and people that we believe in and want to see them succeed. We all really want to see each other succeed. We all disgustingly love each other. And so thankfully that helps move the show forward and helps keeping us.
You can feel that between y'all walking around. I mean, even this year with the bigger crowd, bigger crew, you can still feel that same gang vibe I feel like it comes through in the show.
Oh, for sure.
That's cool. That's what we hope. That's we feel that way as well. And from the beginning, we recognize it in the edit, and we're putting the show together. We are really grateful for that because it's not something you can quantify. It's not something you can put on a call sheet. It's not something that you can pay for. You know what I mean? It's chemistry, and
I feel like it's. Is there anything that you felt like you did on set to make sure that you ran your set the way you wanted to? I know you both had, I'm sure, up and down experiences on other people's sets. Was there anything that this is how I want our show to run?
I think if there was something.
I don't think we've ever really talked about it, but I think we've been on enough sets to know how we don't want the show to run and how we don't want the set to feel. And it's, everybody that we're friends with are they're very respectful people and calm people as well, and very experienced and good communicators, and I think those are all qualities that we really value in each other, and those are qualities that we try to foster in ourselves as well. So I think that just those basic first principles are just being good to people, being patient, and just communicating, not expecting other people to read your mind.
I think, and letting everyone know that, of course, every job job, every department, no matter what you're doing, is important. And we really do value everyone showing up every day and doing their job. And we see it all and we appreciate it all, and we are truly grateful for that. And I think expressing that and sharing that with each individual in our set, like we want them to feel like this is a nice place to come to, even though everyone's working really hard. Like they enjoy being here.
12-hour days, man. You've got to make it a nice place.
100%. 100%. I mean, the grace and the synergy wears out real fast when people don't want to be there.
Yeah.
That's
totally.
So.
Thank you both. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah,
that's
it's always good talking to you. Great to see you, man.
TV Dudes is an independently run podcast out of Austin, Texas. We are exclusively listener supported. If you'd like to help us out, go to patreon.com/TVDudes.
You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at TV Dudes. All the music for our show is done by our friend and original TV Dude, Gregory J. Amani Smith.
To find out more about us, go to thetvdudes.com. I'm Randy Lander.
I'm Les Weiler.
And I'm Kyle Scott.
Thanks for listening.